They say laughter is the best medicine. Stand-up comedians are filling up the prescriptions for a dose of laughs, a welcome breather from, certainly, the coronavirus pandemic. One comic in particular, Joe Wong, has his work cut out for him. How does he find humor in the isolation and even when fighting stigma? Here's Joe up close and personal. And now I'm joined by Joe Wong, the well-known stand-up comedian. Joe, welcome to the program.
Hi, Wei. It's an honor to be on your program again.
Great to see you again. Of course, this time it's
same.
very different. The pandemic is everywhere. For a stand-up comedian, what does that mean?
It's interesting because a lot of people ask me, hey, do you experience coronavirus-related racism or, something unpleasant? I said, yes. I experienced coronavirus-related racism, also SARS-related racism before. And when everybody's healthy, it's just some good old-fashioned anti-Asian racism, This is the nature of being a stand-up comedian. Because most people have a relatively smaller circle of friends and coworkers. Both stand-up comedians, we have to deal with a lot of people on a daily basis. So we actually experienced racism almost since day one when we started doing stand-up comedy. And it's just recently with the outbreak of coronavirus, people are starting to pay more attention, and there are more and more reports about it.
Yeah. From day one, in fact, Joe, when you were doing stand-up comedy, when you were not known to the rest of the world, you started with quote-unquote jokes about racism. You want to raise the awareness. So now how have things evolved, particularly this time? Stigmatization, racism, it seems to be very high, and it's so obvious these days.
It's very sad that people are sick and dying. And on top of that, Asians outside of Asia also feel the racism, and sometimes it's violence. Some people get punched, kicked. There's one Asian father and son even got slashed across the face in Texas by someone with a knife at a supermarket. It's just crazy, and it's very hard to make joke about it.
Yeah.
It's just not a laughing matter. What kind of bothered me was with this instance, some comedians that I've known for like more than 15 years started to kind of say things like, oh, if you don't like whatever happens in America, why don't you go back to China? There are a lot of those. There's people who are still defending the way people behave, which is really shocking to me. These are people I have known for 15 years. And but what I realized later on is you should really do this, like see something, say something. I know sometimes it's very hard to say to your friends or coworkers or colleagues or even your spouse and just say, hey, that's racist or that's inappropriate. But you have to say it. And after that, some people may stop being friends with you, but real friends will probably still stay friends with you.
So this is a big test, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, exactly. So like this friend I had for more than 15 years, we had a little back and forth going, almost had a fight, and he was called a racist by other friends. So we took the fight in our private messages. And in the end, he actually saw my point. He said, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, Asian community is suffering. And I appreciate that we're still friends. So, you just have to speak up, especially at a time like this.
Joe, one of the things people have been talking about is as time goes on, pandemic means quarantine, staying at home, lockdowns even. So what does that mean for stand-up comedians like you? I mean, you're supposed to be out there on the stage with live audience. You interact with them. That's the nature of your trade. So how are you going to do that? How are you going to maintain your sharpness during this process?
Can't you tell I'm not that sharp anymore?
Well, by saying that, you're pretty sharp.
No. Yeah, I totally understand. For any joke to be working well and close to perfect, you really have to hone it in front of a live crowd.
Yeah.
And now it's very hard. So what we do is sometimes we do have like a Zoom comedy show.
Interesting. So tell me more about it. How is it compared to a live audience? What are some of the disadvantages? Maybe they're so clear, the disadvantages. But what about some of the advantages if we could still find any silver lining in this? Joe, you're always the one who can find silver linings.
Yeah. That's what we're here for.
Yes, exactly.
Mr. and Mrs. Silver Linings.
Go ahead, Mr. Silver Linings.
I just noticed, Wei, you always smile. That's why it's always a pleasure talking to you. No matter how dark the situation is, you can always smile.
We need to, right?
Really
we need to, Mr.
Exactly,
Silver Lining.
Yeah. Back to your question, the silver lining is when you do an online comedy show, people can tune in from all over the world. Sometimes when I do Instagram cast shows, I got people from like England or Canada. They will tune in. Of course, they can't say anything. They can only type. Oh, this is funny, or have a little sticker there. That's what you get.
Yeah. What is the latest joke that you put out there that will get most of the stickers?
Well, no, I'm not only doing my jokes, but I also blend in a little bit activism, just to make people aware of the fact that a lot of Asian Americans and Asian Canadians and Asian Europeans are getting attacked.
Yeah.
So they need to be careful and they need to speak up. But on the other hand, I do sometimes joke about being an at-home dad, For example, sometimes I would say, okay, I think my son found out I'm unemployed right now. He didn't used to know, or it's hard to cook for kids because they're too honest.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, they don't know how to be polite. They're like, oh, Daddy, the chicken tastes like tofu. I'm like, son, that is tofu.
Yeah. But being at home now for comedians like you must be a very interesting experience. I mean, of course, without performances earlier, you also stay at home sometime with your family. But this time it's going to be very different. And there are a lot of jokes, even among the common folks, about how to deal with family members on such a frequent basis. We don't see each other often every day, but now we have to, 24 hours a day. So what does that mean? And how much inspiration does it provide you in a way? I hope it's inspiration.
I think sign-on sheet is important now. This time period, I'm going to be using this rule.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And are you sure there's nobody going to knock on your door and come in right now?
Yeah. Oh, I'm very guarded.
Right. Okay.
Stay away from my room.
Yeah.
But
so your own
to be
territory.
Honest, I think years from now, we're going to look back and miss this time period because it's just so rare that you have an excuse to stay at home with your family. It's hard, people can't go out, people lose their jobs or their wages. Yeah. But the silver lining is you probably will never get to spend this much time with your family ever in the future, So everything happens for a reason, and life is very short. So just really value every minute.
Okay.
That will be my attitude right now.
My test for you right now, Joe, since you talk about how much you enjoyed it staying at home, to a certain extent. So what more do you know about your kids? What more do you know about your wife now?
Oh, yeah.
Be careful what you say. They're watching also.
Yeah, I know. So basically, I played all sorts of different games with my son, and it comes to the point that he's 13 now. So basically, at this point, the only thing I'm better than him at is driving. He beats me at every other game now. So that's something I learned about my son. Yeah.
That's why you say you hope that nothing like this will happen again, right?
Yes. Don't remind me I'm so much worse than my son now.
Yeah. What about your beloved ones, your wife?
She's always been better than me in every aspect. So there's no surprise there. no contest there.
I think you just said something really politically correct.
Yeah,
but Joe, life has to go on, and there is a big unpredictability that we do not know how long this situation might last. So how are you dealing with this fear, uncertainty, also at the same time?
That's what a lot of people say. You have a kind of a goal. Like the goal I set for myself is trying to finish that book I started.
Yeah, tell me more about it.
Yeah, it's a book about skills in humor and how to deal with a different life situation with humor. That kind of book. It started a while ago when I was shooting a movie. Now I'm just really trying to finish it up now.
Yeah. Joe, one of the things I have a lot of respect for you is that you have been able to speak out in various circumstances in different cultures about something people are very sensitive in those cultures. In the U.S., for example, at the White House Correspondent Dinner, which so many people know about you, in other circumstances in China too. But now this is a very difficult time. I mean, on the one hand, you have earlier geopolitics we don't want to go into right now. But now you have another layer of pandemic, which is almost like a war against humanity in a way. So how to remain sharp? Once again, I want to come back to that topic and keep on thinking and keep on reminding people, inspiring people, and being inspired. I am trying to find a way. I hope you can help me to also do that. Joe, tell me more about your way of finding answers to these. Joe.
It's very hard, especially during hard times. It's sometimes you feel that comedy is not enough because people are suffering, and if you just write jokes, it's not going to cut it. No. In response, I think comedy changes too with time. For example, before Trump took office, comedy is more just pure entertainment, at least in America. And Jimmy Fallon was really popular, but once Trump became president, Stephen Colbert's show immediately became #1 because he talks about some serious issues that people are really concerned about and even go to the street about. So with the coronavirus, it's kind of the same thing. Sometimes, when Donald Trump calls it Chinese virus repeatedly on Twitter, despite the fact that a lot of Asian Americans are getting hurt, I basically just used like foul language, and I was so angry. I kept attacking him and just used some words I can't say on television, basically. And I remember one Chinese fan was saying to me, "Hey Joe, this is not like you. You're supposed to be witty and humorous, not like this. You're not supposed to use those dirty words. Dirty words are created for situations like this." And I got a lot of likes, surprisingly. So it's just when times are tough, you probably have to go with it. Yeah. That would be my only suggestion and probably experience. You just have to express your feelings at the moment, and people will go with you.
Joe Wong, it's always a pleasure talking to you. I know you've been fighting very difficult situations. Our respect and our support. Thank you so much, Joe
Thank you so much.
Joe Wong, Chinese-American comedian, talking about his life now in quote-unquote isolation at home, while at the same time fighting with laughter against the pandemic. That's all we have for today. If you'd like to see more of our program, try to find us, World Insight CGTN, into your search engine. Check out our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook accounts. From me, Tian Wei, and everyone on the team, thanks for watching. Bye for now.